what do you think?
We're jumping in on something because it looks like it's a small crowd here, and then there's some people, I think, online.
We got a green light, so.
Okay.
Issue is, because it's just like lack of motivation or.
I don't think too many of them, initially our concern had to do with the chaperoning or policing group was who wanted to bring kids from not in the school to the school for the event. That was one thing. That doesn't even get asked anymore because the kids we have aren't as interested in coming for whatever the reason is. I can certainly survey them and find out. We'll bring it out.
Marielle is in seventh grade.
She is.
So this is the question. So dance-a-thon, we've had 2 successful dance-a-thons, but we've never been able to engage older kids. Your kids haven't been to either though, have they?
So we went to the first one and she was like so overwhelmed that we went to the
I have.
I do not.
Okay, it's not
She
for
didn't
her.
know the dance for the it's not for her.
Okay. The question is it worth it to separate and try to do something for middle school? Or do we just make the whole thing a school-wide event, 6 to 9? Because that's what it's always ended up being, because we never get the middle schoolers to buy in to coming on their own anyway. What do you think? You have an 8th grader, right?
Yeah, I was thinking, what are they doing for, I know this is a new up, what are they doing as activities?
Like end of year activities, they usually do a trip.
They're doing a trip. I think they're going on the Spirit of Philadelphia this year. And then they have the practicing for themselves. This all comes after the PSSA. The period following the PSSA, even though the PSSA had been condensed, there's not a lot of school out there for that. So there's a lot of ready. That's when the trips and Schuylkill Valley Nature Center, the 6th grade's going to.
Okay.
They connected and said, we're just going to walk down and they put their trips in. So I'm very happy about that. But that's essentially what they do is they typically have a trip. 1 year, I think it was when one of the 8th grade teachers was out on maternity leave. The other teacher run the situation by herself. And we had an event at Dave & Buster's. There's one in King of Prussia or somewhere.
Plymouth Meeting.
So we went there. That wasn't so much a school sanction, but that was well attended. The kids liked that and wanted to do it. And I also think that after the ceremony, which we're going to be changing the date on that, because we're going to have absent teachers that are active participants in that one for 8th grade. We're going to have kindergarten in the morning on that Friday. We're going to have like a 2-hour break to try to get the auditorium pool, flip the furniture over, because the kindergartners use the risers for their ceremony, and the risers have to be taken out, and chairs have to be set for the 8th graders for their activity. And they tend to go out sometimes as a group, not always, depends on how much of a floor there is. But that's also parent chaperones. Kids don't go on their own, like what's set to do it on their own place. But if they call it, then I go and I show up wherever they are too. That's what's been done in the last couple of years.
So dance-a-thon is you raise money to go, right?
So you raise money to go, or you can just pay it. Like, yeah, it's just $5 at the door, or you can raise money ahead. You can get a T-shirt if you raise $25.
And I went around, I understand what you're saying because I know that myself, I went and was handing out here, the phone here, anybody that wanted it. Because it is loud. But I also feel that the DJ, every time they've been here, has done a good job in getting the kids up. Now, I can understand, I'm not a dancer, so I can understand the discomfort if you're kind of feeling even forced. But the people sitting around the side, even though they may not be dancing, seem to have a good time too. As long as the parents are with them, they can leave when they want. I wouldn't deter that. I just wonder whether or not K-8 from 6 to 9 would be too long of a period of time. But the parents will make that decision.
Yeah,
for their
100%.
kids.
I feel like it just flows, like, people.
Seems like you got more of the older kids than this. Than it was this.
Yeah, well, we didn't get 7th and 8th graders. graders in any,
Oh,
we've
okay.
never had 7th and 8th graders really like participate in any. I shouldn't say that. I mean, the first year we
The
had
first
Sierra,
year.
we had Sierra Lyles and like her friend, but then essentially they turned into like helpers of the event. I think like this seems successful and this still does not. I just hate that we don't have a community that would want to come to something at the schools. I think what I have a hard time like letting go of.
I think we have to like work with the kids like earlier on and find out what they want. Like I was thinking today about how we have all these dances for 7th and 8th grade. You know, it was very special. Like you could not know if you were having 7th and 8th grade.
Right.
Social activity would happen at that time. You know, things are different because we could not connect to things.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
The 7th grade actually has a lot of dances
Oh, do they?
during the day. But
During the
that's the celebration is they'll say, you know, we've accomplished our tasks when we go to the lunchroom on Friday afternoon. So sort of like how
Seventh grade?
they've had 2 this year already.
Really?
Because they borrow the sound system. They're usually asking, you know, where that kids come down and they hook it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean maybe it's that. I don't know. I just always feel like
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, you can have something for Facebook.
yeah, see.
Well, maybe it's something with energy and next year.
Yeah.
Just talking with them.
I think you need like a teacher chaperone and a group of parents that will work with the kids like over time to figure out what they want and help them plan it so that they're involved. So it's not like they're not like
So I will say between the first year and the second year, we did go the route of trying to talk to the future. It wasn't, wasn't successful, right?
But like so maybe that those are the elements that you need in place to do something that's successful at on a Friday night before. We didn't go.
Just do this as an all.
And we'll, like,
Yeah.
we'll revisit this again.
Okay. So the idea too is that for future years, like we're already paying the DJ and it's already set up. So and like there's already people here, the school's already open. So it's like it's essentially a free event. So in a way where like if you only had 20 kids that wanted to come, there's no reason you couldn't have it. Because you're not paying for the DJ with what you're collecting from them. You know what I mean? It's like already included. But okay, so we'll just go this way.
And the building, while there's no cost, there's also no staff. I've been closing it down there for
Right.
any evening thing in the past year. And the same thing on Saturday.
Uh,
I'll be opening it up and closing it up.
we appreciate this. Okay.
That's fine. We need to get it done. It's 2 years for that. They don't know. We'll get it done.
All right. The fundraising stuff is supposed to go out on Friday. I was hoping I could send it to the office and then maybe you guys can help with copies. All right.
And that's after. I'd like to get the copies done tomorrow so that we can make sure that that's out on Friday.
Yeah, that's fine. I just have to update it
Okay.
now with the new information, which should be easy enough. When would be a good, what we have done in the past is that we collect the money, we give like 2 days of collections, but the event is on the 12th. So the t-shirt order would have to be in like the week before, by like probably May 5th.
Okay.
Is that still PSSA? Yeah.
I didn't really count.
I have one.
Yes, it is PSSA still.
Okay, but they're Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday?
Yes.
So if we did collection on Thursdays and Friday, is that possible or no?
It's a PSSA testing day.
So just do it Friday?
How about Friday and Monday?
We can't do it Monday because it's too late for the t-shirts. And we had a hard and fast one last year and that was fine. Maybe the younger grades could bring it in all week, but homeschool is collecting on Friday.
Bring it in all week, collect it on Friday. We're not going to take it until after the test is over. When we come in, we're going to have like a half-hour lull
Okay.
to get the tests out. The test gets taken and then it disappears. So do it on Friday, but that's the only pickup date, and we can ask for it to be given throughout the week.
One thing that we had as a note from last year, whatever my notes are, was to add on the form if the family has PayPal or Cash App too, so that should hopefully help us with some of that. Okay. I know that was out of order, but I
Yeah.
just figured that was,
So, Mr. Mena, just to bring it up to speed for those, all we talked about before you got here was dance-a-thon and the difficulties that we've had with it in the past, and what we can do moving forward. So,
yes, but he uses somebody else
what's that?
for the t-shirt company.
Well, I changed that now too. I don't use the one that I was using. I'm ordering the same product from a different vendor
Okay.
that we can use funds from the school budget to purchase.
That's probably why we used it. Okay,
So now we're at the beginning.
at the beginning. Okay, so our first thing is the election of officers. So I think we just need a formal, like, vote to approve. Say I vote to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve the 2023-24 slate as presented.
Yes, and it's a 2-year slate, so it's 2023 to 2025. Approved. Locked in. Congratulations. Thank you all for serving. So that'll be President Lori Soda, Vice President Chris Herman, who's on watching us, Recording Secretary Chris Mena, Corresponding Secretary Abby Ellis, and Treasurer is Teresa Keller. Exciting.
Thank you very much.
It's on there.
Oh, on the laptop.
Yes.
Okay. We're very fancy. This is very fancy. It would be funny if it was like a million, right? It like went viral. Okay, talent show was a huge success. I think it went really, really well. I don't feel like there was really anything that I would do different next year. Do you feel like there's
No.
anything?
I think it was the right length
Yeah.
in the 2 weeks. Here is an example though. We had a lot of older kids that came to watch the show that didn't have younger siblings in the show. They just came to watch. And I did notice that, and I was looking the whole time because I needed the cameraman. And so I found somebody, I was like, you got a job? You know, I still owe them snacks. I never actually paid them that night because they weren't my snacks to give. But I have them down in the office now. I'll make sure they get them.
There's people helping you, like, move stuff.
Stage crew?
With-
And it was me and him.
Stage crew.
With the connect, what we had was 4 days of audition. Some students came every one of the days. Some students came only on the third or the fourth. We didn't even know what they needed. So it was very hard to say what somebody was going to need. So the real work by Mrs. Tiss and Ms. Belloff was putting a sequence in order where we could actually put some things on stage when somebody was in front of the curtain to keep the evening flowing. And I think we were very successful with that. The other thing that happens is I had people in the green room. So there were people monitoring kids.
His daughter.
There were people monitoring in the green rooms. 2 of them, the 2 kindergarten classrooms were used. We were live streaming the classrooms on the big screen so they could see what was going on in the auditorium. And then I would go get 5, they'd come up, and the next 5, every time the front row empty.
No doubt, I think more, like, if there were more hands or like if there was a second teacher that was like willing to help or something like that, it would be a little bit easier, but I think that it honestly, like,
Yeah.
it worked okay.
And we had different supervision. Ms. Shaffey and Ms. Brimmer were also there during the rehearsals and things like that. Now, they didn't play an active part because they were basically watching and making sure everybody was safe when they were, because those first couple of days, we had kids that were going up on stage, but then the hallway has kids in it, the gym has kids in it, and they're all practicing and nervous before they get on stage. But it really came together nicely.
Well, the groups are hard because they don't all have time outside of school to practice, so we just try to like.
I was gonna be, the only other thing is a lot of those wonderful older kids who came ended up in the like cafeteria looking around. So that it's spoiled up there to corral them, which my husband said they're fine, they're having fun, they're making memories, and I said, I think they really need to leave the cafeteria.
They can have those memories.
So Miss Coyle went up and got them all out of there. But I wonder if there's a way to like block off areas.
Blocking it off is a bit of an issue. I made sure that it was blocked. That was my,
Yeah,
you know,
That was enticing.
more enticing. Okay, then I'll. put
They're
the
running
lights
around
on.
with like flashlights.
Yeah.
No,
I mean, I will say, I think chaperoning for all of this stuff, like, it's so difficult, because it's like you either choose, my mom actually made a comment about trash, like, she was so horrified at how much trash was there at the end of the night, just but next year, I don't know if you can make an announcement, and I'm like, I can, but should I have to announce that people should take their flipping trash when you get up? Like, no. So I'm like, I'd rather almost like ignore it, you know, a handful of kids stayed and they put all the chairs up and collect the trash, but like, do I want to make that announcement and admit that we are at school where that's a problem? Like, it's really like, I don't know, because the chaperoning, I think, even like when the kids were downstairs, I think some of them, like, it's always great to have an engaging audience, you know, but are all of them being as productive as what you would hopefully be at a show? No. But,
I think it
yeah.
hurts to announce that because I think sometimes people make assumptions that you're staffed up much more than you are. Like if you just say, hey, it's also kind of opens the door that
When they
like,
forgot they
this-
cut something down on the floor,
Yeah.
like water bottles and things like that.
but like
Yeah.
this is all done by volunteers and
Yeah.
Mr.
Yeah.
McGrogan, so please do your part. And next time
Yeah.
maybe you can help. I don't think that's a bad idea.
Uh-huh.
Well, we actually had a popcorn party the day before, I think the day before the tournament started,
Yeah, yeah.
and 6th, 7th, and 8th grade students, if they earned the
It was
right
that day, probably.
that day, no, it wasn't that day, it was the day before, because I had them charge the snow blower up, the leaf blower. And they were like, what for? I said, so we can get all this popcorn out here, and they laughed at me, and then they came, the next day, they were like, that was a great idea. I think they're going to clean the floor a little bit more often that way.
All right, Chipotle Day doesn't come into home and school, but people were asking like how much it is. So
I have a check downstairs, I have it going to the bank, $389.33, and if they gave us 30%, they made about $1,300 in the cash register and gave us nearly $400 back, so that's nice. And I did tell the same people that were going to rank Tony Rome's to skip out on that one. That was already a known, not worth the effort. Yeah.
they only get 10%, not 33%, and they're also pretty strict about you having to like stay in or they have some credit. So it's not like an open window thing. It's like, yeah. All right, campus cleaning and improvements. I don't think there's tons of updates, just the fact that we have the date. And it's now on the back of the calendar, May 15th through 19th, that week. School pick.
Yeah, so we surveyed the school community to find out if people remember the school fair, what they liked about the school fair, and through our presentation for sending that out and getting everybody's input. So I think we got, I didn't look at the list, but we had about 120 responses, I think 130 responses, which was good. A lot of it is feedback we don't have control of. Some of it is very good feedback about the book and like. So it was great. I'm glad we did it. Now we know. And then we have a parent planning meeting next Tuesday, April 18th. This was a flyer that Linda put together for people to sign up to. I think here your sign-ups that you want to be at the parent meeting, but we do have a Zoom schedule. So maybe what we need to do is send to you to send out for home and school. And each Margaret, you would send out maybe ask a Zoom link rather than the flyer at this point for folks to join us to learn about the school fair because we are going to need so many volunteers to make it a success. As we had, great turnout last night, but we're going to have to just keep pushing it and trying to get engaged.
Awesome.
The biggest thing.
I did not intend to report out on it, so I'm not sure.
I would say that people like loved the food and loved the music. There was like a few things I think that kids, there were comments like they wanted more time. Some kids seem to remember that before they used to be able to do 2 times, that was chaotic. Yeah, that's like not gonna revert back. But
Some people said the gates were boring, which I totally get. Like, where did we can't really do that?
K-3 is a big range. Yeah, right? K-3 is a big range to try to like.
And the other thing was last year we were doing with all those tickets. And the kindergartner teachers, their experience with this, so they had them set up with like bags.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing before they got out.
They had everything, yeah. They wear them around their neck.
Yeah, they wear them around the neck. But I think that perhaps it wasn't communicated well enough that you use your tickets, that's it. Like, because we had kids with leftover tickets when they were being called back inside and they were upset about that.
Yeah.
So use them on your own.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're also like tripling the,
Close.
candy floss.
Oh,
Candy.
yeah, cotton candy. We knew what you meant.
Yeah.
We still have that student for one more year to help.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we,
He did a great job.
I mean, it's awesome. So we will have 3 cotton candy machines. We put together a couple, actually Linda is so creative and she has a couple of ideas for like wonderful other ways for people to spend their tickets. A couple of things we're adding. My son had some feedback. He really likes the games that with the luck, where you just like spin the wheel and you get what you get. Right, yeah, those kinds of things. So we incorporated a couple of things like that. So it should be fun. We're excited about the planning. Obviously, the key thing is just Linda and I staying super organized, which we are already totally on top of, and getting people to come out for it to volunteer.
There's one other thing that isn't on here, but the Sunshine Club, which is run by teachers, I guess Ms. T, is she not running it? And
She's among them. Ms. T, Ms. Coyle, Mr. Hudson. There's a team of them.
okay. They are putting ideas together for Teacher Appreciation Week to do like a different kind of like food theme each day. I will keep it as first week in May. I don't think we talked about this, but so in any event, I suggested that I thought the school at the very least could put together like a sign-up genius of all the different things that they needed throughout the week, and then that way it was like one master list that then families from all grades could like contribute to. I would love if somebody else wanted to put together a sign-up genius, but I can send that out and see if anybody responds to that. They definitely have some cute ideas, and then with that, I didn't know like if there was other stuff that maybe like we wanted as the home component to like put ideas together for things kids could like I don't know write letters to teachers or something else like for that week. When we send out the sign up genius, which is more like
So the sign up genius is teachers are telling you what they want on each day.
so it's a handful of teachers that I think are trying to put this together for all of the others.
Yeah, it's not each teacher. It's
Yeah.
Sunshine. It's a committee.
Right.
It's a small number of people, and like they came up with a parking spot.
Yeah, that's really cute. That little.
We had our Christmas party, and they asked me, "Can we raffle off the designated parking spot as one of the gifts?" You should have seen them. What do they call that? The Pollyanna, the steel. You should have seen that thing go around the room. And then it was finally declared dead, and people were upset with me with it.
Would it be easier to do funds instead of?
So I think the sign up genius we could do both, but the idea was like not that home and school would be buying it. The idea was that like families could contribute. So like Monday they wanted to put together like a trail mix bar. So it's like small pretzels, pretzel nuggets and flavors, bagged M&Ms, peanut M&Ms, raisins, like things like that. So so originally I think they were asking if home and school would pay for some of the items. I don't know how they were going to fund the rest of it. And I thought, well, at least in lower grades, sign up geniuses usually go pretty quickly with like, we'll send juice, we'll send napkins, we'll send this. So if this was in a sign up genius format, we could send it then they could send it even through like PBIS or like through their methods to get to the families, and then families could contribute to this like school-wide effort for teacher appreciation. Homeschool, you mean? I'm sure we could. Yeah. Yeah. I think, yeah.
And this is what the whole staff got for teacher appreciation from school, but they got it when they use it, not, they don't have their names on the web ID, that was just fell off, she has that freaking.
Nice. Let's see. All items would come in Friday, May 5th. I thought this was, I loved their ideas though. They had like different ideas for each day. So they had like a trail mix bar on Monday, coffee and donuts on Tuesday. I don't know what Wednesday. I think they were doing some sort of taco thing too.
Walking tacos.
I thought.
They did
Yeah,
that with
and then they
kids.
wanted to raffle off gift cards too. So they asked if we would know of restaurants that would donate, and I said I really don't know if restaurants would, but if we put out like, hey, can you give a $15 gift card to TNF or a $25 gift card or something like that, that like somebody might just sign up and fund that. So I thought it was worth at least asking what people would do. Oh, here we go. Wednesday, room service cart. Thursday, taco day. Friday, Hershey Kisses cart. Yeah, so they have like these little, little things like that at the very least we can try to.
You would need like on the sign of fees, like how much of everything.
Yes, but I asked that they do that because I had no idea like how to try to like manage how many, like what their expectations were for what would be offered. So Miss T sent that exactly. Like we need 8 large bags of M&Ms. We need 6 bags of, pretzels. This also, I know from doing some of the like vending and stuff like that, it's a huge lift in home and schools trying to do it because it's a few people making massive runs to grocery stores and BJ's and stuff. So if we could have families bring in like, here's a bag of M&Ms or here's a, it's just much easier. And it gives more families a chance to participate and it allows us to like, so it just felt like it's a better like blended model, but certainly the idea would be that we could try to get it funded or sourced. Yeah. Okay. That was, I think, the last thing that I had. And I feel like I know that's the last one. Sorry.
Got any workshops coming up?
I wanted to do 2 in May. Yeah, which is, I'm sorry, my name is Ronnie B. Partner, for those that know me. So I have like the best of both worlds. I'm the main education liaison for this school, but my daughter is as well. The workshop that I wanted to do was to make sure this is a math game. Is so it has like reading and like well actually like 16 to 1. We did the reading and multiplication course. We had the bingo part where maybe those snakes or something like that, a game like that, it's a game like that, that you get comes in a game board, anything that has to do with math, things like that. So I wanted to do that workshop with the parents and we wanted to bring, depending on what time you allow me to do it, we wanted to bring the children evening time, like 11 time, it'd be great, to play with them, with the game, that we would play as a group. And then I also had to do Crayola workshop. We have Steve, we have Move by Math, we have a writing portion of Crayola, so it's a bunch of different things with Crayola that we have. So we're trying to see what kits we actually have available in our department that we can help for the workshop. So
Is there specific ages that that's
so you get a kit, okay? This is really but you get a kit, one kit for family, and it has markers, it has paper, you ever seen a Crayola, kits before, and
like
How
I said,
much of
local.
an activity is it versus like opening the kit and being creative?
so it has actually an activity brochure, so it's at least about 15 different activities you can do.
But I meant like a facilitation, because this is why I'm asking, because you want to do it in May, And in May is when we have the community week, and I was wondering if you could do a Crayola workshop during one of the community, like family things, because we could just bring out some of the tables, and then it would occupy some of the kids, and then parents could pitch in a little bit more, and the kids almost seem like they're getting a gift, like families seem like they're getting a gift to participate. It's the week of primaries. So it's like the 15th, then we're off the 16th, the 17th, 18th, 19th. So maybe like after school on the 18th or something like that. Like Mr. McGregor, I'm trying to work out like the date, but could it work in that?
It could work, because I've done it before.
Do you guys think that's a good idea?
I had different activities going on.
Yeah.
Station.
Yeah,
Right.
we would be getting people out when they're already out.
They're getting people out when they're already out, right? You get, yeah.
I think the things we usually,
We have no idea. It's our first year that we're doing it. I'm gonna say 20.
okay, that's good.
I'm gonna say you're handing out a Crayola kit. I think 20 families.
Okay.
We haven't really worked out exactly all the details, but the idea was that there was going to be like some days and times that like kids and families and parents could participate. Yeah. Some would do like a cleanup time.
We're doing
Where
it as
is
part of
it?
the academies too, so kids are doing it
Yeah.
in smaller segments on anything. Most of it has been inside because of school, and now we're moving
Yeah.
into the outside.
It's that week of May 16th through 19th, but we'll have to get you a specific. That would be exciting. All right.
Yeah, she can get them up.
Is there something that we should hold up to be happy people who are watching?
It's the family, this is given out to all families at the beginning of the school year.
Okay.
The family engagement policy and the parent school, or the school and parent compact.
Okay.
Because we've received Title I funds, we have different periods of the year. Back to school night, for instance, is one. And I look at this document almost as if we were discussing negotiations of a contract or a bargaining agreement. You don't rewrite the script. It's a matter of in each of them. If we start with the school parent compact.
I didn't realize how old my eyes are. But I'm like, this is really small. Really, really small.
In essence,
Yeah.
we do this because we meet every month, but there are certain months in the year, in the fall, in
Yeah.
the winter, and in the spring, that we have a requirement to share this. So when you come to back to school night next year, I'm gonna have that PowerPoint going like I always do, and those slides that are on there that we go through relatively quickly are the commitments that the school is making to you and that we're asking for the school to make to us. So some of the things are non-negotiable, like the first one is basically what the law says. It started as No Child Left Behind, and then it was ratified under a different name, and now it's ESSA, Every Child Will Succeed Act. And it's just a modernization of what it is that we have to do in public education with the funds that we receive. So where it says Shawmont School Goals on the first page, the tip talks about the number of students in a percentage that need to earn A's and B's on the report card in their core courses. Some of these are set by the school board, where there's cutoffs, where a certain number of students need to reach or attain proficiency on PSSA or report cards and things of that nature. At Shawmont and at several other schools, we've already exceeded what the school board says that we need to do. But we can't use their goal then. We have to go at least 10% above where we were. So if we had 65% of our children at third grade reading one or above grade level, and the school board's goal is 60% by the year somewhere down the road, we have to take that 65 and now start striving for 75. So we could be meeting the district's goals as the district, but we're losing ground, and we don't want that to happen. So, and that happens a lot of times when we're looking at norm reference data, and I try to tell the teachers, we're not comparing ourselves to somebody else, we're comparing ourselves to ourselves. If we're not growing, then we're losing, even if we're above another school by comparison. So the school and the teacher has certain responsibilities. We said for the year that we're in, that we'll have parent training on literacy or technology, at least one during the school year. This Paige Harper, that's exactly what she's been promoting all along, where we're talking about use of technology, know where your children are, building the writing instant Crayola, everything basically that she brings to us falls into that category where we're meeting that for families. We have to monitor attendance and let you know when your children are not in school. Parents are also making sure homework's complete, signing homework.
Wait, where are you now? I'm sorry.
Page 2.
Oh, as parents. Okay.
As parents, yes. Try and monitor the amount of time that the student watches television, things of that nature. Volunteer in the child's classroom as best you can. We have a lot of grandparents that volunteer at Shawmont. So parents are working, but people from the family still come in and work with kids, and I really do appreciate that. I still consider that a parental commitment, even if it's a generation before. Participate as best you can in your child's education, promote positive use of extracurricular time. We talked a little bit more earlier. I won't belabor the point that we need to do two things when it comes to our extracurriculars. We need to have more of them, one. And then the other one is we have to sell ourselves better than we do. Each year, staff, based on their family lifestyle structure, my child went off to college, now I'm available for a club. I wasn't able to do that before. So it isn't something that's written in stone. Some people do things annually, and I can count on that. But there are people that are pretty much set in where it is that they are in their lives. We'll be having some new teachers join our staff, and one of the questions, or some of the questions that we will ask them, are what are their interests beyond the academic school day. That's, if somebody's interested in theater or music or shows, that's an attractive answer for us as a team when we're interviewing. Stay informed. You're doing it with regard to the advisory group and being part of the homeschool organization. Students have responsibilities. They should be attentive to their work, do their homework. There were students doing homework on the benches today before school. I said, that's not technically homework because you're not at home, but let's get that done before you go in. This other one about communication, about learning, I do think we need to do a better job as a school. I think we do a very good job when the school year starts. It's like running a race. And I'm not a runner that paces myself. So you're running really fast at the beginning and you get a little bit tired by the time you reach the end, and some of the things start to fall off. But we adhere to this with the reports. We get it through report cards, we get it through interim reports. Now I'm on the last place. We have to provide reasonable access to staff. This means not just meeting with teachers during report card conferences. We have a number of children with IEPs. There are meetings that are going on with families all the time, and we try to hold them in a timely fashion as best we can. One of the things that happens at report card time is we're trying to get so much done in a short period of time. We're trying to get a survey done. We're trying to get the conference held and not keep people waiting. Some classes, if your child is in a class that has 30 students in it, that takes every minute of all the report card days and some more to meet with the families and have effective meetings. If you have a class that you're fortunate enough to have 17 to 20 students in a class, the teachers have a bit more latitude with that time. Something that we've done also well is that any conferences that we've held, we try to reserve a portion of it for virtual meetings. So our meetings have actually gone up in number, but they're not captured in the same way when it comes to sign-in. So I have a sign-in, a physical copy from the people that visit the classrooms, and then we have a chat or another type of check-in that the teachers handle as well. So that's pretty much what we're doing with regard to the school parent compact now. Do you have any feedback with regard to more school or teacher responsibilities, or something that's on there that we're not doing that we should retire? That's page 2.
just like, this guy stuff, but with the modern, under parent responsibilities
Yeah.
versus monitoring not television child watches, would you also maybe want to add, since that's already lofty, social media use? Since that's been an issue this year.
When it comes to extracurricular time, I know that the school should be providing that on a greater amount than we do. But I would like to add, and this isn't so much a parent responsibility, but I would say it this way: keep your children involved in organized activities. You know, more kids become bad kids. So playing ball, going to the Y. There's a lot of different things that are available in this community. Some children that go to aftercare centers, we try to promote all of them. I'm not allegiant to any one, but if somebody's going somewhere after school that comes from our school, and perhaps another parent would find comfort with their child going to that same place. And I know Mr. Men is heavily involved with Scouts, so it's not just athletics, it can be music, it can be anything that's out there, including the library system. Anything else there we should retire or amend or add?
This would not be the next, but I'll just add it since we're talking about this. You mentioned with worker conferences and like 10-minute intervals, like a lot, we're trying to like fit in. Somebody mentioned that their kids' school does interim report meetings, like they offer conferences when needed, and the students are also fit for that. And I just felt like that was like a neat idea because it gives families a chance. And maybe families don't do it. Maybe you're not able to have staffing that's outside of contracted hours and stuff. But like,
Well,
it seemed like a good idea.
what our upper grade teachers do in some instances, the interim report, when it's signed by the parent, counts as a test grade. Now, they may not discuss it, but I like that. So what I'm going to advise is that signed and unsigned report card, interim reports require a follow-up. You know, congratulations, your child got it.
Yeah, I don't know, like just some way of like making that a possibility. I know that not all families like would want it, but I certainly think that for, I don't know, some families, like if the kid was able to participate in it in a way that's like productive and helpful.
It's just like having good relationships. Problem solving.
Yeah, I think it's awkward for kids to get feedback too, so I think meeting with them is out there. And then the only other thing that I would say, I don't know whether this is a problem at all, but under communication about student learning, I don't know whether it would be appropriate to set some sort of a limit. I feel like with the TGIS app, with email, I think some people, some teachers text and all that kind of stuff, but like, people shouldn't expect that that would be available to them on demand. There should be like a,
Okay.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. Like, you know, within 2 school days, you know what I mean? Or like things like that. I don't know if other people like need that. I'm always like, I want to talk about like, I don't understand what they're talking about. Like, well, they might not answer. Like, if, you know, like, they're at home. Like, but I don't know if other people have that same
Right. Well,
value for other people's time.
communication, and the last one is access to staff, which I think piggybacks on what you did just.
Yeah, that's what.
Okay. And we're going to continue as obligated by law through our funding. We're going to continue to have back to school night. We'll have a winter and spring meeting and continue to offer workshops to degree and extent and we will attend.
But these two responsibilities, monitor attendance and lateness rolled into that. The reason I say that is because my son, I'm terrible as well. But he gets a lot of late notices, so I see that you send notices out and but lateness is not specifically mentioned.
Lateness is not mentioned, and it's not mentioned for a number of reasons. children that are not at school on time because the bus is late, like 0924 hasn't been on time in a long time, and it's been a substitute bus driver, and it's been late in the afternoon as well, if it's come at all. Now, 0924 didn't come today, so we got called and told that the bus broke down. Whether it did or not, I don't know, and that we should have one in the afternoon. When the driver got here in the afternoon, he couldn't navigate the turn into the bus lane, so we took the kids up so we didn't have to make that turn. And I wasn't entirely comfortable about that. Back to your point, students, when they're arriving because their bus is late, they get a late note to go to class, but it doesn't count against them. When students are late because they're late, they're not late. I have had lengthy conversations with my superintendent about how we could potentially adjust our late policy, not to make it convenient or easier to be in from school on time, but perhaps changing reading from the first class of the day and putting maybe social study. Now, we do the social community time at the beginning of the day. That would be missed anyway, and that's a shame because that's where we're, building a relationship and a family within the classroom. But perhaps starting with another class that's not a core content class that doesn't get people on time, but just trying to finagle with how is it that we can make sure that we're not losing quality learning time in the first part of it. So it's really about absence. Absences will get you into the truancy system. Chronic latenesses is still a loss of time. And something else that's a problem with attendance is vacations. Now, I'm not against, and it wouldn't matter if I was against, families taking a vacation because people are traveling when they can afford to do it and it's cheaper at different parts of the year. So I respect that. But what happens is we're put in a position because we don't have a code for vacation. I would love for the district to add a code, families on vacation. It's not an excused absence.
Right.
The family gets what it wants, we get what we want, and then we have to deal with the outcome. Anybody
Or
that,
like note not approved.
Right.
Like where like a parent sent a note acknowledging the absence, but it's.
right. The part is that we have far too many kids that are missing more than 9 days of school. If you're missing more than 9 days of school over the entire school year, you're attending less than 95% of the school year. That's what the numbers are. Now, the number of school days in a month, it fluctuates. So I could look at a month and say, we have so many kids that were absent in April. Well, there's less days in April because of the spring vacation. So
Right.
one missed day is a high percentage
Yeah.
of the month of April. But over the course of the year, it's only one day. If there were 6 others, that's 7. You're above 95%. There's no argument. And we're not monitoring that child very closely. So did I evade your answer close enough to that? He's in 5th grade now? 6th grade? It's going to become problematic more so.
How stressful are your mornings? Like my daughter went to leave once and I literally walked. I thought I was back to center everybody else. And she called me because she forgot her Chromebook. And I told her, "Chloe, she blew up my house this morning. She better find a Chromebook tomorrow at school."
Really get attention with some of them. Technology.
I just want to know the student responsibility. Is there anything, or do you feel like there should be something about with social emotional learning? I mean, you think that really serious. I'm just looking at like some kind of mental health or something in that realm. Like this is all very academic. Is there anything that we can read in here, like as a student, your responsibility for school, to do things that they
Responsible and be respectful.
Yeah, like CBIS.
Yeah.
just to give that a little.
Yeah.
Okay, if we could jump to the engagement policy. It's laid out much the same way. It's a little bit longer. And again, it's all driven by law. These are not local decisions. Any school that receives Title I funds has the same obligation to their families in the state, or they would have their funding revoked, or penalized or suspended in some other way. And we don't want that to happen. Most of the language is the same. It speaks about all the meetings that we have. We're going to be adjusting some of this to use PBIS more as a tool, because things that you did for us as a school last year to support PBIS have gone away, because we become self-sufficient, we had discovered funding and ways of accessing that. That Monday at the end, that was a lot of PBS tickets that don't need to be done because now this is on the agenda. I'm jumping ahead. The school store has been successful. The brag tags. This is a token that's given out, and it's like instantaneous. Kids love them. The only thing is, they love certain shapes more than others. So he's got a star. I'm at Teachers Out of Stars. They come for more stars. I'm out of stars. I've now ordered 8,000 of them, and that sounds like a lot. But when you have 300 kids, and I know some classes aren't as into it as others, it is we're on a younger level, they could give out 60 or 70 in a day, and they're back looking for another handful, and it's like, we're really going through these brag tags. They get attached to the book bag, and they're showing them off. So we are going to put more PBIS language in that. Something else that happened with the school store, and it was mentioned about the cost of things. I deliberately got items that I thought the upper grade students would work towards. Legitimate football, legitimate soccer balls, legitimate basketballs, all those things.
This is the PBIS store?
The PBIS store, because it started with these, snacks and, gummies and all of that. And so the store got going. Now, Miss Doyle is out of maternity leave, so it's suffering a little, it's suffering a lot, but it still exists, and I'm still buying it. But again, it comes down to that supply and demand. We're really ordering a lot of stuff, and the prices change. So I have to get a quote on what I'm ordering, and if I need to order it a month later, I have to get a new quote and have that approved and everything's itemized. So there's a fair amount of sweat equity invested in it, and it was the kindergarten. I think it was a kindergartner or first grader. The teacher came in and said, "What price they got?" I'm like, "Oh my God, that was a $13 basketball. That was not worth it."
Wow.
So we're going to start raising prices. Not that the younger ones still won't earn it, but I was trying to get some buy-in, and it didn't turn out the way that I wanted, but it will over some time. We'll be discussing the Title I program at the back to school night, Section C, communications. It's mostly some of the same thing. We're going to eliminate and retire the classroom dojo. Not that it can't continue to exist for those that love it, but we're trying to streamline it so you're not going forward to different places for information.
100%.
Yeah, but
I will not enlist I will not.
most of them have abandoned it. I was one that was behind through mine. Then we had Class Dojo. You had SIS. You had a lot of.
Yeah.
I like SIS not because I think it's the most effective,
But it
because
goes to
there's a
everybody.
record of. Yeah, it goes to everybody.
I like that it's inclusive. I don't feel like we have another way to communicate with everybody. PBIS you have to sign up for. This way you have to sign up for. So I feel like inclusive is like.
We're committing to develop the school parent compact, which we are doing now. Funds. 1% of our Title I budget, and I don't have it committed to memory, but I think it's about $4,000, is for communication with you. In the past, we had purchased items for you to read. We both read. So if we're buying something for your child to read at home in the summer, that's something that we could use Title I dollars for. Last year, all the students in the school should have come home with a book bag and materials.
Yep.
What did you think of that? That wasn't a cheap investment. Is that something that you think that we should consider?
Okay, so personally, I loved it because I make my kids do like summer work. I think that half of the books were stuff that was flat out not of interest to them in a way that I don't know would be better. Like I don't know what the options are. And if there was a way to like set up a school store where they got to choose like 10 books or something, but I don't know whether you guys have the manpower. But anyway, came in this package, which you guys. I liked the variety. There's a lot of diversity in it, and I love that because they weren't necessarily books that they already had at home. But like the sport books and stuff, like that's just not going to be of interest to my guys.
Yeah, they are, my kid numbers, that books, and I thought was amazing.
It just didn't cover. Oh, the kids.
Because like, parents are so they came from school or what, but I can see the thought and interest in it.
Right. Well, what allows me to use these funds, if you want me to do that again, is the fact that this connects you and your child with materials from school. I could buy literature for parents on parenting and how-to books, I can do that with the funds as well, if that's what you prefer. But the combination of working with the child and the fact that we had a lot of money last year unspent at a point in time, which isn't so much the case now. If it's something to do, I can move forward with it because I will supplement the family Title I dollars with school funds to make sure that that happens.
That money is not eligible to be used for like buses or trips.
No.
Different costs.
Like if we have a workshop, we could pay for the materials that parents that come to the workshop would want to take with them. So like if you had a make it take it type of idea or something like that, we could pay for those.
Last year, one of the books that came home actually was like a prepare for the next grade book. It came in fifth grade. Did Chris do it? Did CJ do it? Or someone? It was like 6 weeks. It was like an actual workbook. Because normally I buy it. Like normally I like go to Five Below or whatever and I try to think like whatever. But that one was actually useful stuff. The literature book, like Abby said, like I think, you know, it's just different if kids pick them out. There's just more tie-in.
Well, maybe I can do that. Ms. Picriva is working with teachers in their common planning time. They're putting lists together of what do they need to get through this year and what will they need to start up next year. And I can add that to the list of things to consider. I'd like my kid to have these titles. And they wouldn't be getting an assignment over the summer, but there might be some common activities that we could open the year up with.
The idea too of the parents.
If you
Mine's good.
And on the last page, it's all the same things. I mean, I really don't know the greatest difference between these two documents, but we have to visit each of them because each of them has a page to make notes. So,
You noted on how your state class dojo out.
yes,
Okay. Got it.
do you like when we read body stuff?
All about it.
The parent survey that you completed when you were at report card conferences, or if you used the hyperlink when I sent that out, we have 303 households at Shawmont. We have close to 500 kids, but they come from 303 households. 92 households responded. The district has also responded in the past when I started here. If you had 3 kids, you had to complete the survey 3 times, or only 33% of the students. It's not like that now. So each household is counted as a household. If the parent completes the parent survey, that family is satisfied. The objective would be to keep the oldest child that you have in the school in mind. If you have a child that graduated and now you have one in high school and one here, you should complete 2 surveys, one for each of the children. Staffing and site selection, I can't get into the intimate details of this, but it's going to be the most difficult year since I've been here. Attrition has taken a large number of children from our upper grades, and currently we have 32 children in 7th grade total, both classes. The ratio by contract and law is 33. So when it comes to the budget, they count the noses, then they give dollars for every nose that you have, and then you have the money to buy the teachers. So as it stands right now, I will have only 1 8th grade class next year, and both sets of children will begin. Now that could change in October. I don't know. Each year we start the school year, we had an influx of students that we weren't anticipating. We have more kids than 33 or 34 in that class. Now we're going to get another teacher, but we're site selecting now. We can't site select then. So we're hedging our bets. We have
What's the projection rate?
32.
So close. So my daughter is living in grade next year. I am hearing a lot of rumors that a bunch of kids are going to leave Shawmont grade for this year because there is some sense that there's a better chance of getting into school if you're at a different K-8. And so I'm hearing this from sources that are not 100% reliable, but I'm hearing it from a couple of different
But it's still a perspective.
And I have never heard anything in my travels here hear or tell people that they'd be better positioned in a different school in the career to get into a high school, and then they're into wonderful different Shawmont, you got into great high schools, all stuff. But I don't know if it's all talk.
Well,
or-
it could be fear of what I'm saying, because the teachers are now aware of this. This is the worst time in the world, where the students are anxious because we're about to take a state test, and there's a lot of, that creates a lot of tension. Then you put the teachers in a position where they need to be putting their resume together, possibly interviewing at another school. And other teachers in the school, like myself, are interviewing people that we're going to be hiring for here. And there's a citywide principals meeting on Thursday. I'm not even going to be here on Thursday. I'm going to be on the Philadelphia Free Library for professional development all day. Then Friday's a half day, and we're off next Friday. So when people come in and they say, "Oh, we only have 47 days left," they're happy, and I feel like an accordion, and my stress level goes through the roof. You know how much we got to get done in that period of time. So, and I try to just take it that way. To try to answer your question, two things are in play. One of them is the high school selection process, which all schools that have 8th graders and all schools that have 9th graders are screaming about. It is not a good system right now. And so in the former system, so let's say perhaps we gravitate slightly back to that, how your daughter fares on the SSA now positions her in 8th grade, because she'll have her scores in. They don't know anything about them in 8th grade when they're applying to high school, because it happens at the beginning of the year. They don't even have their first 8th grade report card when the high schools are looking at who's their population. So it's a combination of those two things. If I'm going to be in a really large class, might it be better if I'm in a smaller class? Does that give me an advantage? Perhaps. What school is that? And how is it that you go there if you're not paying? Perhaps it's a charter, but if it's parochial, now you're incurring a debt, cost associated with that.
But application-wise, I don't know anybody. I've not heard that from her.
I've heard that people were trying to get.
Well,
They felt like that was-
people have historically tried to get the Greenwood because it's glossy and shiny.
And it's also, I will say, for like middle school, it's thriving. Like they've got multiple grades, so they're able to do what middle school dances. They do lots of sports, like all that kind of stuff. I think for that middle school field, because they have so many.
This class that's in 7th grade now
Yeah.
got hit in 5th grade with another class opening.
Yeah.
We got drained in 1 year.
Yeah.
So either there's a couple of mastermen,
Yeah.
a magnet school is it?
Yeah.
An admission, I don't know. And then another large handful right there, and we went down in number that year.
Yeah.
And then further attrition in small numbers over time. And the opposite has also happened, where we pick kids up all the time. We've had more during year transiency this year than ever before. In my initial years at Shawmont, whoever started in September finished in June. They might be leaving before the next school year, but they didn't leave and come during it. Since the pandemic, there's been all kinds of movement.
In favor though of the new system, factually, though, the kids will all be
Yeah, that's what I.
Yeah. So there would not be any truth to that. But it's also like, I do still think that the school should address that rumor with 7th graders, because if it's a rumor, it's how they feel. And that's sad to think that there's a kid, like, especially in 7th grade, right? Like that perception that like, there's another school that's better, or I'm not gonna get into high school, I want to come up here, but you don't want them to feel that way, and it's because it's misinformation,
And there are two variables on the teaching side of it. There's seniority, last one in is the first one out, and then there's credentials. And so that's how we're getting twisted around. We have teaching credentials and seniority that did not line up, that creates a hole in our schedule that we have to address and hire. Because we're hiring right now a 3rd grade teacher, a 6th grade teacher, an autistic support teacher. Because our autistic support kids that are in grade 5 now, they used to age out and have to go to another school. Now they'll be able to remain with us for 6, 7 years. And we're also, for the first time, going to have a full-time ELL, English language learner teacher. Last year, we had Friday mornings every other week of support. This year, we have 2.5 days a week of support, and next year, we're going to have a full teacher. And the number of applicants for that job alone is extraordinary. So we have a rich pool to pull from, and we're going to whittle that down, and then we're hopefully deciding tomorrow who it is from the applicants we're going to begin interviewing and starting that virtually next week. We have to get started because we don't want to do too long. Rag tags I talked about, so I talked about backboards.
Yes, we talked about that. They're coming.
They're
coming
here.
Saturday. That's if everyone.
The backboards are here, the rims are here, and we now have a small team of people that will be installing them on Saturday. Cross fingers that the weather is good. I've been out there spraying WD-40 on the nuts, and we're getting a scissor lift thanks to you that will assist us with that project. And I hope by noon on Saturday, backboards will be installed, and we're calling Hollis to come pick up their equipment. This is a very challenging one, the next item on the agenda. Teachers have been trained. I have been trained. There are no unauthorized devices allowed on the person of the child that's taking the test. Adults in the classroom are not permitted to be on laptop computers, cell phones. They're not permitted to be using any devices. So we're looking for as much cooperation and understanding on your side, because if a phone should happen to go off or fall out of a child's pocket while they have the PSA on the table, we have to call the state or ourselves. And it might invalidate not just that student, but the class's results. We do not want this to happen. Every student has a personality. 2 instances today, I had a parent come up because a child texted them from class that they were unhappy about something. So, I mean, okay, well, you're unhappy. You would have been unhappy at the end of the day, and your child could have been more adherent to the book. But I'm also a parent, and I've seen enough stuff going on that you see going on as well. A parent wants their child to be able to get in touch with them no matter what. Not for 2 weeks at Shawmont or anywhere else that's taking the test. Anything that can take a photo, anything that, even the calculators that the children have that they take the test with, before that calculator gets handed in, the memory has to be cleared. Because when it gets passed out the following day, the same child may not get the same calculator. You pass them off with the test.
The teachers collect everybody's cell phones.
We do. But we have kids that bring in 2 cell phones, one to give to the teacher, one to keep in the room. And
The hoodies too, like a lot of kids keep them like in the top, like before they come in there. So I'm sure that the teachers are obviously going to tell the kids the same thing.
Correct.
Do you expect there to be like kids that will comply with it? Like, what are the options? Like, for example, if you really know you're going to have some students that don't want to do that, like, can they opt out of the test themselves?
they can't opt themselves, the parent would have to. But the thing is,
And I'm not trying to like promote that,
Right.
but I feel like I would be so mad if like one of my kids' test scores got invalidated
Because of another
that
child.
scenario that you
Right.
just
well,
said,
we test,
especially when there's like no real, like, it's not like there's consequence for that kid.
well, we have small group testing going on everywhere. There's not many open spaces left in the school because every room, so our numbers are going to be low, they're going to have eyes on them. And the other part of it is we're going to ask them, and in your phones, okay, take all your book bags and everything else and put them over there in the corner. If the phone would happen to be in there and off, they don't have it during the test. We don't have it, they don't have it. But you're not going to have your bag at your desk. So there is a path for everybody to cooperate and not create a situation that would be, because we have lost tremendous amount of traction when it comes to the cell phones, as far as parents don't feel that that's right. I mean, they want their children to be able to touch them. And so some families said, well, we're going to keep them home during the test. They need it when they go off the phone. Like, so they're still convincing themselves, I would like to help you, but there's a piece of it that I'm at work.
But I guess like, do you have like known offenders of kids who like every week the teacher saying this kid is
I think most of them are.
I don't think that this is like a math problem for every kid. I think we know the few kids who this can really blow up for. And I think that there should be a proactive approach to it not ruining everybody's testing experience. Am I
Agreed.
alone?
I'm in on it, I agree. I think we know who most of them are.
Yeah, so I just feel like then, yeah. And if those families don't support the cell phone policy, then those families should be able to opt out of their kids' session. Like, I don't think it should be something that's like totally forced on, like, there is an option for, like, if it's that big of a deal and you don't want to get on your cell phone, which is ridiculous to me, but I mean, you know.
Dates that are coming up, in addition to the ones that we discussed, we have an early dismissal on Friday. Picture day is on the 18th. It is for those that are purchasing pictures only and all kindergarten. I sent the electronic version home. What will happen is anybody that pays online, their child's picture will be taken, they'll get their package. Hopefully the weather will be nice and we'll be outside. They do it on the front steps with the woods in the background. They look nice when they are able to take them out there. But if not, every class comes down. We're usually done in about 45 minutes, the entire school. After the individual students are taken, kindergarten is taken, but that takes a little bit of time. And then there's a lot of families that have siblings in the school. Their pictures are, they want them together. They don't want a picture of each child. They want all of them together. That needs to be indicated with your order. Just say, this is a sibling package and supply the names. We'll be policing that on that day. That's pretty much it. The next meeting on the 9th, I put location to be determined because it will be the last time that we're together. Perhaps live is better. We see one another a lot in June, but we don't have a formal meeting.
I think with the community week that we're gonna see one another a lot. So my suggestion was that we could do the 9-1-2 for updates and then build community, unless you feel like you have things that are better or to talk about.
I don't know.
Okay.
The next couple weeks will go.
Oh, for like teachers, like
Yeah.
because you might have staff and stuff. Yeah, so let's see, we'll play by ear.
We
It'll
have a
be-
larger audience on Zoom.
Yeah, we do, and I think that those kind of updates are clear. Or, I mean,
When are we official?
I guess technically the beginning of the school year, but now would be the transition time. Yeah, like first meeting would be like your,
Yeah, we're meeting in May.
yeah, we can
Congratulations
start
to the new officers.
sending all the
Returning
information
officers.
over. Should we try to find somebody to do the sign up genius?
I was thinking about that. Why don't you put it out there, say, and see. I do need to get to learn that. Let's put it out there.
If you have a different program, if you think it's better, I don't know.
But you said the teacher has all.
Yeah, I'm gonna try that. Wait, I have a question for you. There's a, I'm sure that this is right. I just don't understand it. There's a teacher,
There's all kinds of breakdowns.
oh, okay.
There's a category for 95% or greater, 90% or greater. If you go on the school profile, you'll see
So
that.
is it this part missing?
Yeah, it's missing, I
The
think,
rest
the
of it?
pagination.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a little bit of language that's missing there, but basically,
That's what I was looking for.
you're getting,
Thank you.
we're gonna increase the number of students that have high attendance, and we're gonna reduce that percentage greater than 15 that has that.
Ah. Just curious where the other percentages are. So the Taliaferro thing, I'm gonna get from you now.
If you would.
Yeah.
Because like I said, it's not stale yet, it's got some time left on it.
Alrighty. Thanks for setting that up, hopefully. Persona is like stuff.